Hello. Trying to get things adjusted perfectly, but it doesn't work. Stay. Hello, welcome in. How is everyone today? I hope it improves your day. I'm not sure it will. We're covering a pretty hard topic. Um, Thank you. We're covering a little bit of a hard topic today. And yeah. So I'm just gonna start by saying we're covering. There's no dark mode on this, so I'm sorry, but we're covering an Australian case of a woman who fought her dad in court. Um, it was published in 2019, and uh, there is definitely descriptions of violence and child abuse in the article. So, as long as everyone knows the risk of watching this stream, then yeah, I'm gonna chat for a minute, talk about, I don't know, things in life, stuff, and days. um, as long as everyone can hear me okay, and the dog's fighting in the background. They're not fighting, they're playing, but still. Can you not? Apparently they can. Um, let's see. Is that her name? Yeah. Yeah, that's the case we're talking about. Jenny Haynes. Um, yeah. I wanted to do something a little bit different today and actually have a topic to talk about during our podcast. This is the first. Can you stop? Hey, hey, stop, 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 stop. Settle. Saddle. Saddle. Don't bite me. It's just settle. Thank you. Down. um, but yeah, I could. I said settle. Lay down. Lay down. Down. I love my dogs. But we've done this podcast before. We haven't had exactly like the biggest audience for it, and it's been a super long time since we've done a podcast. I don't even know what episode we're on at this point, but I did want to get back into it. Um, so I figured I could talk a little bit about what's going on with us, and then we will jump into the main topic of the day, which is the Jenny Haynes case. And I think it was 2019. The article is posted in 2019. I think that's kind of when this is based off of. Correct me, the people that know more about it than I do. We're going to be reading together the news article, and so we're going to be learning together. If you haven't heard about it, then we're learning together. We're going to talk about it. You guys can ask questions. You guys can comment on what we're talking about. I ask that this live stream be a little bit more main, like keeping on topic rather than not keeping on topic. I don't know. Going off and asking a random question about Easter. Altars. My opinion on my favorite color. So any of those questions, you can ask those now. But as far as it goes, when we get into the main topic, let's not. We're going to try to keep it kind of focused. It's a focused live stream. Sorry, I got an email. I was trying to make sure it wasn't one of the people asking about the camping trip, because the camping trip is this weekend. Um, yeah, so our inner world, this is Max, by the way. Um, I didn't even read your question. This is Max, by the way. Ashley will probably switch out part of the way through. She's really interested in this case. We've read maybe the first two paragraphs, and yeah, so she wants to be the one to kind of get into it, and it'll probably be a relaxed switch, so you probably won't notice it until it's too late, because she's like, yeah. Anyway, our inner world has been changing. So if you guys listened into the other podcasts, um, our inner world was 3 or 4 masses. We still can't decide if the veil is the 4th mass or not. But we have the mainland, which most of the altars were on. We had the island, which new altars were on, and there was a amnesia barrier. I can't promise you that Ashley will tell you when she switches out. There was an amnesia barrier, basically, that we had to build the bridge for, and it was really metaphorical and actual. Crow, can you come here? And then there's this island, and it's kind of like a getaway island. You know, people go there just to have time to relax. And then there's the Veil, which you go there, you don't remember what happens there, but you come out really relaxed, and just you go there to decompress and actually get away from things. So everyone is off of the mainland besides our dragons. We have 3 dragons. Ross, Coral, and I can't remember the 3rd one. But Ross and Coral are 2 of our 3 dragons. And then we have a bunch of new altars over on the island, along with our OG altars that went to the main island. And then you have the tunnels underground, which we have an underground city that we uncovered. And the underground city is, I don't know. It's not completely finished yet, but there are some people living there, and it's attached to Lucif's tunnels. So it's been, it was 3 months of moving everyone from the mainland, and the dragons won't budge. It was 3 months of moving everyone from the mainland to the island to start to decrease amnesia barriers and increase communication between altars, and it's been working pretty well. Altars have been having like a really decent time trying to get to know one another, and some altars don't like each other, and we're learning things. Ashley's doing well. I know I mentioned her trying to read this. Ashley's doing good. She's just vibing. I know you guys really like Splinter. He's the one that was in prison and got the trachea injury, and now sounds like he's continuously suffocating. He's doing really well. He's running a club with Della, who is running her club, and just there's a lot going on there. As for us, outer world, not just inner world, but outer world, we have a job at a hotel. We are volunteering for horses, and we're trying to stop dog training until we move again. We're planning a move. We're building a house with the money we will get from selling this beast, and it will be a lot smaller than this beast. Yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on in our life. Crow back there is ginormous. If you guys remember puppy pictures, she was probably like Eh. Ooh, 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 ooh. She's probably about that big when we got her. And this is her now. She's huge. We got a snake, which, let's see. You can kind of see the enclosure back there. We're working on getting a UVB light for Rick. Currently we're switching, because this is a UVB bulb for whatever reason. So we've been switching between the two. And Rick has a heating pad. Both of them got thermostats. We only have the red bulb up there for ambient heat temperatures. It's our ball python Slippy, who we showed yesterday on our stream. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on with us. Does anyone have any questions before we start to get into the article? And again, I'm sorry for those of you who really enjoy night mode. All I have right now, I don't know if this website that I'm on has a night mode. So, another trigger warning before we get into it. This is covering abuse, and there is just talk of description of her abuse and what she went through. It's a pretty deep article. But I just want to give everyone the heads up that this is triggering content. We are not shying away from triggering content. I'm reading it in its entirety, and we will be covering some intense feelings of emotions over here. So if you need to take a step away, you don't have to watch the entire thing. You can watch it in segments, but we're making progress here in wanting to do more on the channel, and this is one of those things that we want to start doing. And I'm trying to give everyone that's watching here a big heads up and trigger warning before we jump into it, because the DID is not fun, and it is created by some not great things. So getting into it, we're trying to be very open. We had the trigger warning at the very beginning, and we have the trigger warning now, and we want everyone to have the option to go away if they need to. Anyway, I feel like I've rambled on about our trigger warning long enough, so let's go ahead and get into dissecting this very long article. By the way, this is not a short article. This is a pretty long article. Alright, so there is only one woman in the witness stand that day, but out of her came 6 people prepared to testify about the extreme abuse she had suffered. I walked into court, I sat down, I made the oath, and then a few hours later, I got back into my body and walked out. First of all, relatable. I know this is going to be a really intense story, but like, first of all, how relatable is that? You go somewhere, you do something, and then at the end of it, you come back into your body and now you're leaving. That, I don't know. That's very relatable. Alright, Jenny Haynes told the BBC. As a child, Jenny was repeatedly raped and tortured by her father, Richard Haynes. in what Australian police say is one of the worst child abuse cases in the country. To cope with the horror, her mind used an extraordinary tactic, creating new identities for her to detach from the pain. The abuse was so extreme, so persistent, she says she ultimately generated 2,500 distinct personalities to survive. Damn. I mean, I know that we've had a lot of alters, but that's a lot of alters, and that is extremely distressing. And in the landmark trial in March, Jenny confronted her father to present evidence against him through her personalities, including a 4-year-old girl named Symphony. It's believed to be the first case in Australia and perhaps the world where a victim with diagnosed multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, which is the correct one, has testified in their other personalities and secured a conviction. Hand clap. I'm sorry for interrupting before we even get past the first little part of the article, but like, that's amazing. This woman went into court not knowing how it was going to go. Let her alters speak for themselves and what they experienced, and got her father convicted. Like, this is going to be a rough case, but at least you know it has a great outcome. Not everyone gets that. We weren't scared. We had waited such a long time to tell everyone exactly what he did to us, and now he couldn't shut us up, she said. On September 6th, Richard Haynes, now 74, was sentenced to 45 years in jail by a Sydney court. Warning: contains description of violence and child abuse. So just getting into it, I feel like this is just a very impressive... Already, it's an impressive article, and an impressive case, I guess. I mean, case DID-wise, but also case and abuse-wise, because even neurotypicals who've gone through abuse, and I guess they wouldn't be neurotypicals at that point, but singlets who have gone through abuse and go to court, they don't always get a conviction. And people with mental illnesses, you know, MPD, DID, schizoaffective disorder, depression even sometimes, and anxiety, you know, they say, oh, you're just paranoid, or oh, that didn't actually happen. But she went in and she won her case with alters that experienced the abuse. And I feel like that is just like an amazing message to the world that, you know, we are real. And for a court system to believe that just makes it so much better, because courts in general have typically made it really hard for anybody with a mental illness to make their case and make it seem real and believable. A lot of people with mental disabilities, no matter who you are, a lot of times, and then you have DID, who people just say isn't real and doesn't exist. So that's an amazing feat, I feel like. I wasn't safe in my own head. The Haynes family moved from Bexhill Heath in London to Australia in 1974. Jenny was 4 years old, but her father had already begun his abuse, and in Sydney, this escalated to sadistic, near-daily violations. My dad's abuse was calculated, and it was planned. It was deliberate, and he enjoyed every minute of it, Jenny told the court in a victim impact statement in May. She waived her anonymity rights as a victim of abuse so her father could be identified. Good for her. He heard me beg to stop. He heard me cry. He saw the pain, the terror he caused terror he was inflicting upon me. He saw the blood and the physical damage he caused, and the next day he chose to do it all again. Haynes was also Haynes also brainwashed his daughter into thinking he could read her mind, she said. He threatened to kill her mother, brother, and sister if she even thought about the abuse, let alone told them. My inner life was invaded by Dad. I couldn't even feel safe in my own head, Jenny said. I could no longer examine what was happening to me and draw my own conclusions. Just imagine that, not even in an abuse situation, but like with Aether, their mother literally scared them so bad with Christianity that they thought they were going to hell no matter what, because God could see everything. If you do XYZ, you're going to hell. If you're going to do this, you're going to hell. Even if nobody's watching you, God is watching you, so you're going to go to hell. And that will fuck someone up so badly. Also, this is Ashley. I hear you, asking to let you know when I switch. This is Ashley, by the way. But how fucked up is it to get into your child's head and put something there that's gonna just follow them around until they are able to think for themselves? And even then, that's gonna just really, like, that just fucks someone up, man. That fucks them up so bad. She composed her thorough song lyrics to try to hide them. He ain't heavy, he's my brother, when worrying about her siblings. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry when thinking about her ordeal? Her father restricted her social activities at school to minimize other adult oversight. Jenny learnt to keep herself small and silent, because if she were to be seen, such as when her swimming coach approached her father to encourage her natural talent, she would be punished. I mean, you're not even letting your child grow. That is just insane. Jenny was also denied medical care for her injuries from beatings and sexual abuse, which have developed into serious lifelong conditions. Now aged 49, Jenny has irreparable damage to her eyesight, jaw, bowel, anus, and coccyx. These have required extensive surgeries, including a colostomy operation in 2011. The abuse would continue until Jenny was 11, when the family moved back to the UK. Her parents divorced shortly after in 1984. She believes no one, not even her mother, was aware of what she was going through. Oh my god. Yeah, all the gaslighting and manipulation, it's insane. I got a message from someone. Hold on. But oh my god. And then to even just deny medical care, even occasional medical care, wouldn't raise a giant eyebrow, but the fact that he just straight up denied it, just shows how much he didn't care about her and, like, how gross this is. Ugh. And it's so sad that she's suffering even now. Like, this was in 2018, I think the article came out, or 2019. But still, all that stuff that's described in that paragraph, that's still, oof. Medical to English, coccyx is the tailbone. Yes, it is. Sorry, I knew that, and I totally spaced on people not actually knowing that. He was actually abusing Symphony, contemporary Australian experts refer to Jenny's condition as dissociative identity disorder and say it's heavily linked to experiences of extreme abuse against a child in what is supposed to be a safe environment. DID really is a survival strategy. Dr. Pam Stavropoulos. Oh my God. Sorry, Dr. Pam. I cannot pronounce that. A childhood trauma expert told the BBC. Well, yeah. Australian experts refer to this condition as DID. No. Experts. And say it's heavily linked to experiences of extreme abuse. I'm really liking this article, but that particular paragraph kind of ticks me off because it's saying like the Australian experts are saying this and it's ignoring everything else. I just like DID is known to be caused by extreme abuse against a child in what is supposed to be a safe environment. That is what it should read. I'm sorry, I know I'm getting hung up on some of the wrong stuff, but that is it serves as a very sophisticated coping strategy that is widely regarded as extreme, but you have to remember it's the response to extreme abuse and trauma the child has undergone. The earlier the trauma and the more extreme the abuse, the more likely it is that a child has to rely on dissociation to cope, leading to these multiple self states. I'm gonna stop right there. Little bit of DID facting. That's true. The local community might only trust their own experts. So the other part of it being when you're such a young child is that you haven't solidified yourself yet. You literally, your personality is literally not solidified. So you got these different kind of parts, and it's not DID until there's abuse involved, but it's similar. The way the child brain kind of works is that there's the different types of parts in the child's brain that haven't connected yet, that haven't fused the personality together yet, basically. And so the reason why DID kind of forms is because as the child is growing, so the child starts out like out here. You have baby that doesn't really have a personality, laugh, cry, whatever, there's not much there. And then as your child gets older, the personality traits start to come together and fuse what is now the kiddo. But when a traumatic event happens multiple times, that starts to separate and really make it so the dissociation is pushing those pieces apart and furthering them. And so when a child fully develops, their brain, just in metaphorical terms, basically, because I can't show what actual brain waves look like when the personality is completely formed in a child. But the reason why they say it's under 10 is because of this analogy that I'm giving. When a child's brain is fully formed and you got the personality completely there, this, all the things should link up together. Whether it's, a little bit this way or a little bit that way, or they're crossed or whatever, the whole personality should link up together. When you have dissociation pushing those apart and then it gets twisted. And so the way that the child reacts to the abuse and how dissociated they feel they need to be to avoid what's going on around them is going to dictate how many alters you have, how severe the dissociation is, what amnesia barriers do you have. And then you got this kind of missed opportunities of connecting that personality together to create a whole person, basically. And so that is a little lesson in what kind of causes DID. I know it wasn't the best. I should come up with a better diagram than my hands, but that is what DID is formed like and why it is formed the way it's formed. But I just thought that was interesting to go off of what was in the article. Sorry for my tangent. The first personality Jenny says she developed was Symphony, the 4-year-old girl who says she exists in her own time reality. She suffered every minute of Dad's abuse, and when he abused me, his daughter Jenny, he was actually abusing Symphony, Jenny told the BBC. As the years went on, Symphony created other personalities herself to endure the abuse. Each one of what would be hundreds and hundreds of personalities had a particular role in containing an element of the abuse, whether it was particularly horrifying assault or triggering sight and smell. An alter would walk out the back of Symphony's head and take on the distraction, Jenny told the BBC. My alters have been defenses against my father. It's while dissociating that Symphony presents. About half an hour into our conversation, Jenny was warned this might happen, and there is a sign when it does. She struggles to articulate an answer before transitioning. Hello, I'm Symphony. Jenny's gotten into a pickle. I'll come tell you about this if you don't mind, she says in a rapid burst. Symphony's voice is higher, her tone brighter, more girlish and breathless. We talk for 15 minutes, and her microscopic recollection of decade-old events around Daddy's nastiness is astounding. What I did was I took everything I thought was precious about me, everything important and lovely, and hid it from Daddy so that when he abused me, he wasn't abusing a thinking human being, Symphony said. And that's kind of interesting. So it almost feels like, and maybe this is different, it seems a little different. It seems like Symphony kind of felt like Jenny was all the good parts of herself, and so she feels like maybe she made Jenny and was protecting, but really Jenny made her. So that's I don't know, that was a little more interesting, and maybe there's more to go on in that. Some of the people Jenny says helped her survive. Oh, that's a cool little art piece there. I like that. I'm going to take a sip of water really fast. Are there any questions or comments at the moment? Everyone's kind of quiet, and I can assume why, but is there any questions or comments? Things that you would like to discuss before we continue on? Don't mind me, I'm just talking to myself, I guess. People. Yeah, it's an interesting article, to say the least. Saddle, baby. Lay down. Lay down. Oh, yeah, you got food. All right, I'm taking a moment to eat. Um, we're talking about the Jenny Haynes case.
Oh, cool. Need to grab toppings.
Ether just got home from the dollar store and cooked us some hot dogs. You had heard this before in a YouTube video? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we remember randomly something mentioned this name before, but we didn't know what it was about, and now it makes a great topic, though, a great topic to discuss and kind of talk about, and kind of get details into the public eye again, because, I mean, this is I think one of the best things that can happen is that someone with DID gets the idea that someone with DID realizes they have DID, get the help that they need, and be able to put their abuser in prison for 45 years. And he's 74 at this point, so he's not going to live to be out of prison, basically. So this is one of the better cases that I wanted to cover. We kind of did our research before getting on stream, but we felt like this was a great one to start on. I'm gonna grab a hot dog. Give me a minute. I will. Okay, give me one moment. I get it. I'm going to start some music. Our head count, around 200, just like you, but I'm not sure because we haven't done like a proper count. But yeah, I'm gonna take a very brief break. He's fine. I've just had the door open. They've been fine. They've literally been chilling. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll continue reading here in just a moment. I'm gonna play some music for you guys.
Only by frozen memories. It's fine. Racing on these broken dreams. make amends with the demons you've been through. And I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home. Until you find your way back home. Don't let me drown. Don't let me drown. Don't let me drown. Until you find your way back home. I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home.
Welcome back. I am done eating. I have got food in me. I'm no longer rumbly tummy. And I am almost ready to get back into the it's called an article. That's what it is. Your stream might have dropped because I played the thing. It was good. I had a hot dog, 2 hot dogs, and a couple things of chips. It was good. It's good. Now is a wellness check. If you have not drank your water, gotten up and stretched, or gotten yourself a snack to eat while we discuss this, I suggest you go ahead and do those things now. I'm going to sit here and read some comments for a moment before we get back into the article. So you guys couldn't hear us over the music. That's okay. We were almost done anyway before break. You're also in denial. You're 1 beer away from being a system this evening. I mean, if you're a system, you're 1 beer from admitting to yourself that you're a system. That's great. Honestly, great joke. I love it. Snaps. Last we counted, you have 40. Same, don't want family or friends, especially strangers, to know. Yeah, that can be scary. We will be bold. We attempted to throw our hat in identifying non-binary at 12 in the mid-90s. Had that one for long enough to produce every avenue, aspect, and identifying quality of not only a cis woman, but a mother of 2. I mean, kind of mood. Lost your job because they found out. That depends on where you're at in the world, but you can go to court for that. You can, even threatening to review your legal options, as Danny Gonzalez would say, might actually do something for you. They should owe you something. We work healthcare. They were concerned for patients. We felt like, hello, you did extensive background check. Yeah, like, you reviewed previous jobs of mine and I had no complaints. Why are you worried now? What, all of a sudden I'm gonna snap? Like, nah. I'm an asshole. I know I'm an asshole. But I wouldn't let it affect our job.
Ashley?
Yeah. I'm an asshole. Ashley? Yeah. Can you not lick me, please? Stop licking my arm. I'm reading comments. Employers need to be better overall, definitely. Now at a new job, the mouth stays shut with mask in place. That makes sense. Good luck with college. We just dropped out of this kind of discrimination because of this kind of discrimination. Might go back in a year or so. You should definitely try to go back. College is still important, even if people are dicks. It's honestly really assuring to see older bodied systems, like we're early 20s. We have an older body system going to the camping trip this weekend. We're so excited about that. Oh, that's going to be exciting. Online community mostly seems... Oh. Where did it go? I was almost there, and then it just, like... seems to be roughly 20-year-olds, yeah. Also been seeking disability accommodations, but I'm nervous about actually documenting it. I can't even say my condition out loud. Yeah, that is definitely rough. They're all right for right now. Oh. Come here, Crow. Come here, Crow. Come here. Yeah. Settle. Odyssey, settle. Settle. Thank you. Technically, just became an adult. Shh. Knock it off. Bed. You're not gonna behave. Go to bed. Oh great, I'm back live. I just caught up, had to take a phone call. Thanks for the food break. You're very welcome. As we were sharing discrimination tales, I was trolled after leaving a comment about my epilepsy, and the story and the type of seizures I had were not real because they were too short. That's ridiculous. The person leaving the comment, not you. Our advantage now is that there are others to talk to that understand. In my youth, this was not understood at all. We were just considered a liar. Yeah, our stepmom thought that we were pretending to have other names. She didn't even call them personalities. She just called them other names for the sake of whatever. Like, nah, that was me. Sorry. Sorry we're late. It's okay. Just to let you know, we are covering triggering content today, so just be aware of that. Everyone who has seizures are different. My mom's epileptic, and she constantly has people telling her they're not real because it's not perfect by the book. Ugh. Why do people gotta, like... The one thing that I feel like we've talked about recently between us and Aether is that not everyone is a textbook case of XYZ. No one's gonna follow exact textbook guidelines on how to be traumatized. Like, that's just not how it works. Every child's brain is different. When you have DID, it's childhood trauma that created it. So therefore, your child brain is like actually... yeah, last night's stream did get taken down because there's a segment of someone else's song in it, the one we listened to at the very beginning, and they claimed the video. They didn't strike the video, but they claimed the video, so the entire stream got taken down, unfortunately. We're gonna try to fix it, though, just not right this minute. Everyone talks of external journals to communicate. We have Inner World Memory Board to help communicate. Anyone else? Yep, we have notes and letters and memory vaults and things like that. We just consider ourselves the parent, not mom or dad. Good way to go. We mostly have internal conversations during the day. Don't really receive that way. Access to certain ways of being viewed or understood would be helpful. Absolutely. No! Knock it off. You go lay down. Go lay down. Let her enjoy something. She's being quiet. Alright. Well, I have caught up on comments now, so we're going to go back into the article. So I will just go back up to here. Some of the people Jenny says helped her survive. Muscles, a teenager style like Billy Idol. Oh man. Now I got other people chiming in like, oh, I'm like, no. He's tall and wears clothes which show off his strong arms. He's calm and protective. Volcano is a very tall and strong and clad from top to toe in black leather. That did not make much sense to me. Volcano is very tall and strong and clad from top to toe in black leather. He has bleached blonde hair. Okay, that sounded more real to my brain for whatever reason. Ricky is only 8 but wears an old gray suit. His hair is short and bright red. Judas is short with red hair. He wears plain gray school trousers and a bright green jumper. He always looks like he's about to speak. Linda Maggot is tall and slender, wearing a 1950s skirt with pink poodle appliques. I don't know. Sorry. My brain is not wording with the above the E. Her hair is an elegant bun and she has tapered eyebrows. Rick wears huge glasses, the same sort Rick Haynes used to wear. They dwarf his face. Looking at comments again. Cell phones we used to communicate. If you followed a textbook to a T on symptoms, then a professional would probably be feeling sus. Not that there's anything wrong with having them all, but not everyone will. Exactly. Don't even attempt journaling anymore. Basically us. We remember watching and reading about Jenny. Death penalty would have been good punishment for her dad. Absolutely. In March, Jenny was allowed to testify in court as Symphony and 5 other personalities, each of which would have shared different aspects of the abuse. The trial was heard by a judge only because lawyers considered the case to be too traumatizing for a jury. That says a lot. Damn. No jury because we don't want to traumatize them too. Damn. Haynes initially faced 367 charges, among them multiple counts of rape, buggery, incest, assault, and carnal knowledge of a child under 10. Carnal. I gotta make sure that I'm reading that right. Yeah, reading that right. Jenny, in her personalities, would have been able to provide detailed evidence on every single offense in court. The separate identities have helped... The separate identities have helped her to preserve her memories that might otherwise have been lost to trauma. Excuse me. Persecutors had also lined up a range of psychologists, prosecutors, not persecutors, I'm sorry, my brain is like DID mode. Prosecutors had also lined up a range of psychologists and experts in DID to give evidence about the condition and reliability of what Jenny would say. My memories as a person with MPD are as pristine today as they were. I believe she was talking multiple personality disorder, which is not the right term, but we're going to go with it because this was a very weird time in history. As pristine today as they were the day they were formed, she told the BBC before switching briefly to the plural. Our memories are just frozen in time. If I need them, I just go and pick them up. Ah! Sorry. Symphony had intended to relive in excruciating detail the particulars of the crimes over the 7 years in Australia. Muscles, a burly 18-year-old strongman, would have given evidence of physical abuse, while Linda, an elegant young woman, would have testified on the impact of Jenny's schooling and relationships. Symphony was hoping to use the testifying to grow up too, says Jenny, but we only got through 1974 before he rolled over and showed his belly. He couldn't deal with it. About 2.5 hours into Symphony's testimony on the second day of the trial, her father changed his plea to guilty on 25 charges, the worst ones, says Jenny. Dozens more were counted towards in his sentencing. At least he pled guilty, but, did it really take reliving you abusing your child for you to, plead guilty? Really? When you know your kid's gonna actually tell the truth this time, and everyone's gonna hear it, well, everyone being the judge, I guess, at this point, just plead guilty, dude. Anyway. MPD saved my soul. It's a landmark case because, as far as we're aware, it's the first time in which the testimony of different parts of person with DID has been taken at face value into the court system and has led to a conviction, says Dr. Kathy Kezelman, the president of Blue Knot Foundation, an Australian organization helping survivors of childhood trauma. Again, this is a fantastic case because, the first time, we don't get taken seriously. And the fact that people were talking in the comments about just how, just even getting a job and then someone finding out you have DID in your job and then getting fired because someone thinks that you're going to hurt them. This case is groundbreaking, and I love it. I don't love the fact that she got abused. I love the fact that she won. Richard Haynes pleaded guilty to more than 24 child sexual abuse charges. There's his ugly mug. He looks so smug. I want to punch him in the face. I really, that face just makes me want to punch him in the nose. Does it not? He looks so smug with himself. Jenny first reported the abuse in 2009. It has taken 10 years for the police investigation to accumulate in Richard... Stop. In Richard Hayes' conviction and jailing. He was extradited from Darlington in northeast England in 2017, where he had served a 7-year sentence for another crime. He had been living among Jenny's extended family, to whom he cast his daughter as a liar and a manipulator. Since learning the abuse, Jenny's mother, who divorced Haynes in 1984, has become her strongest supporter in the pursuit of justice. Yeah, go mom. But for decades, Jenny has struggled to receive help for her trauma. She says counselors and therapists turned her away because her story sparked disbelief or was so traumatic they could not deal with it.
That one time when we had a therapist who was like, you're beyond my scope, but I guess I can help you.
Oh, yeah. I feel like in some child abuse does not actually have a statute of limitations. I think child abuse you can convict at any point in time because you were a child, and sometimes it takes time to uncover those memories. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in most countries, I think in the U.S. it's 16 years or something like that.
That's some bullshit.
I know, right? It sounded like they weren't living together. At least from the story, it sounded like mom and dad were not living together. Alright, dissociative identity disorder. They just defined dissociative identity disorder. Let's critique them. Let's see how close they got. Dissociating, disconnecting from yourself or the world, is considered a... Oh my god. Disassociating. Sorry, but not sorry. There's no ass in dissociation. And disconnecting from yourself or the world is considered a normal response to trauma. At least they got the definition right. I mean, they didn't get the word right, but they got the definition right. Because disassociating means like, I disassociate the vape from the phone. They got the definition for disassociating wrong, but they got the definition for dissociating with the spelling. Yeah. I'm sorry. That is one of my most pet peeves on things that should be official, and like, you're a professional. You should know what dissociating versus disassociating means. But DID can be triggered if a person, particularly a child, has to survive complex trauma over a long time. DID is triggered by experiencing complex trauma over a long period of time as a child. Okay? Just putting that out there. Having no adult support or an adult who says the trauma was not real can contribute to developing DID. Absolutely. A person with DID may feel they have multiple selves who think, act, or speak differently, or even have conflicting memories and experiences. The whole point of DID as a child is to not know you have DID. That is kind of the entire point. And so for them to be like, a person may feel they have multiple selves, and it's like, they have multiple alters who encompass different parts of themselves. How about that? That would be easier. That would be better explanation. There is no specific drug treatment. Specialists will mostly use talking therapies to help DID patients. True. Source, the mind. Despite being a widely accepted and evidence-backed diagnosis these days, DID commonly raises doubt among the general population and even some medical circles. The nature of the condition is such that it does generate disbelief, incredulity, and discomfort about the causes of it, partly because people find it hard to believe that children can be subjected to such extreme abuse. That shouldn't be hard to believe. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be hard to believe. I mean, it is hard to believe because why would anyone abuse a child? But it shouldn't be hard to believe. Children really don't lie that much, especially like 2, 3, 4-year-olds. They haven't learned how to lie unless someone's telling them to. Ugh. That's why Jenny's case is so important, because it's bringing wider awareness to this very challenging but not uncommon condition. Not uncommon! Yay! They finally... at least that part's good. That isn't sufficiently realized. Jenny says her MPD, DID, saved her life and saved her soul, but the same condition and her underlying trauma also resulted in great hardship. I believe it. She has spent her life studying, getting a master's and PhD in legal studies and philosophy, but she struggled to manage full-time work. She lives with her mother, both of them reliant on their welfare pensions to get by. Oof. In Jenny's victim impact statement, she said that she and her personalities spend our lives being wary, constantly on guard. We have to hide our multiplicity and strive for a consistency in behavior, gratitude, conversation, and beliefs, which is often impossible. Having 2,500 different voices, opinions, and attitudes is extremely hard to manage. I can believe that. It's hard with 200 something of us. It's hard with how many of you? Lots of them. Like, oh my goodness.
Started at 1,500 down to 450.
I mean, but feeling on guard, that's been kind of one of the things that we've continuously felt. Odyssey, lay down. Let's see. I think some cases they'll dismiss the statute of limitations for child abuse cases, though it might depend on the state. I love that quote. No ass in dissociation. Absolutely. I went to a sketchy residential program, and they told me when I asked for them to look into me having DID or OSD, they said I could not have it because it would have been diagnosed when I was little. Not true. They were also very rude to me about it, and also one of the staff went and told other patients I was lying about my disorders, which I'm pretty sure isn't allowed. No, that is a violation of HIPAA, at least in the United States. And that is really ridiculous because DID diagnosis generally doesn't happen until you're out of your parents' home or safe enough to let your alters like actually come to light and be like, yo, I'm here. Most people don't realize it until adulthood, to be honest with you. When you really study the way DID forms and how dissociation in childhood works, it's not that hard to grasp how DID could form. I just went over the very giant explanation before my food break on how DID is formed, and I need to come up with a better business model. Well, like about the story, she says it saved her soul. We have always wondered if we are all fragments of one soul or if we each have our own. I'm not sure. Brains are weird. Also, our psych therapist last semester didn't believe in DID and was surprised it was still in the DSM. Bruh. It's in the DSM because it's widely proven.
I'm surprised you're still employed.
We have no idea why we wrote therapists were tired. Yeah, no, I get it. And professor. Absolutely. That's not good. What the fuck, professor? Stupid professor. Exactly. When I went in for an evaluation and told them I suspected DID, I was told my friends and family would have noticed, and it was very rare and controversial. I was also assumed to be malingering and histrionic, even though they didn't match my symptoms in the slightest. Huh. The thing I want professionals to know about DID is that it's a disorder where you hide. You're literally hiding. It's a defense mechanism. You're hiding from abusive bullshit. And it's not supposed to be known. No one's supposed to know you have DID. That's the point. And when people start to realize they have DID, they start to get told, you don't got DID. You wouldn't know if you had that.
Yeah.
Or, that's too rare. No one, you couldn't have DID. You didn't suffer enough for that diagnosis. Oh my God. There's so many that you can't have DID. You XYZ. I hate that. I do. I hate it. Haven't had a run-in with one yet, but there's so many stories about those types of people. Going to bed. Good night. One time I thought histrionic was BPD because I got the names mixed. My psychiatrist was like, "You're histrionic," and I didn't realize, and I didn't question it because brain dumb, only to realize later, wait a minute. Beautiful. All right, back to reading. I should not have to live like this. Make no mistake, my dad caused my multiple personality disorder. Jenny sat meters away from her father in court on September 6th to see him sentenced to 45 years. Haynes, who is suffering from poor health, will serve at least 33 years before he is eligible for parole. Sentencing Judge Sarah Huggett said he will likely die in jail. His crimes were profoundly disturbing and perverted, and completely abhorrent and appalling. Judge Huggett said it was impossible for the sentence to reflect the gravity of the harm. The death penalty would have been not impossible. That's not impossible to do. Bring back the death penalty. I passionately want my story told, Jenny told the BBC before the sentencing. I want my 10-year-old struggle for justice to literally have been the fire that ripped through the field so that people behind me have a much easier road. If you have MPD as a result of abuse, justice is now possible. You can go to the police and tell and be believed. Your diagnosis is no longer a barrier to justice. Except for it is. Unfortunately, it still is, and it needs... I mean, this was a step in the right direction, most definitely, but it still is just... Oof. Okay. I realized I have DID because I smoked the grass, and long story short, after being off it for a year or two, I've been aware ever since. I think it lowered my amnesic barriers enough for me to realize. Or possibly, I should say. I don't want to act like I'm 100% certain. Weed is a wonder drug. Oh, you liked the video? Thanks. I'm glad. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should subscribe. The button is somewhere on the screen. It's somewhere. I can't remember. It's up there, down there, over there, that direction. I don't know. You should subscribe, though. If you subscribe, there's a thingy that pops up on the screen sometimes. I don't know if I have it up and running right now, but there's a little zombie dude that comes up and he's like walking. That's cool. We just had a panic attack, and a host was like, wait a minute, over half a year later, lol. Oh, that's relatable. But yeah, I think this was a important case to kind of go over and cover. Not many like it, to be honest. And there's a documentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it's called?
I think it's just like the woman with 250 or
2,500
personalities.
Okay, yeah. There's a
Let me see if I can put a link.
there's a documentary, and I don't know that we'll cover that, but this was a pretty important piece to actually, like... Oh my god, my leg's numb. I'm glad that you're glad that I'm not scared to talk about triggering topics. That is one of the things that, like, we've noticed recently, is that people have stopped talking about triggering topics, and I think it's mostly because the world is traumatized as is, but also it's important for us to go over as systems. Go over kind of triggering topics and make other people. Then I wasn't having and make people kind of think. But no, this case was super important because we still get discriminated against in jobs and in schools, in legal cases, and like there's a couple episodes in Law and Order, which both episodes that I saw, the person was faking DID, and it's like making people think that we just fake this disorder for fun, and it's like, no, we do not. It is not fun. It's not fun. It's due to immense abuse. So I'm glad that you guys are glad that we're talking about things like this. You're treating yourself like you have DIT until proven otherwise because you feel strongly that if you are right, doing this is probably the healthy and beneficial route. Abso-frickin-lutely. Alright, so I will open things up to you guys. If you have questions, comments, concerns, things that you'd like us to cover in future podcast episodes, please let us know. My psychologist randomly threw at me that I have likely MPD. I assume you mean multiple personality disorder, while also admitting they know very little about it. Random, but any suggestions for starter resources to look into this? Our videos. We have a starters playlist, a DID for beginners playlist in our playlists. I'm currently very actively seeking professional help, but it's so hard to find a specialist. About 4 years or so into discovery, and I'm about 90 to 95% sure. We talked about Moon Knight last night. I'm not going over it again today. I think it's maybe it's a good representation, but but yeah, so a lot of people preach don't self-diagnose. I don't mind self-diagnosis, especially if you're in an area or cannot afford things and you're helping yourself. Because if you realize you have something and you're able to, on your own without medication or anything like that, you're able to take it into your own hands and help yourself start to heal, why the hell not? Yeah. Therapists are not all created equal. Not all of them are qualified. And the ones that aren't qualified and actually telling you, they actually tell you, I'm sorry, I can't see you or I can't continue to see you. They hold the most respect in my eyes because they evaluated the situation and said, you deserve more than I can give you. And I like therapists that do that. My ex-therapist told me that she thought I may possibly have alters, and she was a trauma specialist, so she knew about that and had clients who had DID, but I got hurt by something she said and stopped seeing her. Oh, I'm sorry. You could have told her that you got hurt and tried to fix it, but I understand not wanting to do that because trauma. I think that's what it's called. How's your day been? I napped the day away. We've been doing good. We were just sitting here and doing an article thing. Alright, guys. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, comments, concerns, I'm gonna hop off the stream. I just wanted to do a quick stream today. Might do something more chill in a bit, maybe play a game or something, but not right now. So thank y'all for stopping in and learning with me and going over this case. If you have any last minute comments, you can throw it down below after we go ahead and end. Alright, see you guys later. Yeah, see you guys later. Bye.